Cool.
Do your little stuff. Get it out of your system.
Stocks and Sandals. Welcome to the first pod.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we'll start now. I'll just like.
No, that's in. That's how we're starting it.
We're starting it like that.
Just like.
And that's the last time anybody will watch this.
Nice.
Perfect. So, welcome to the Stocks and Sandals podcast. If you guys are OG Stock Dads, you probably remember when we started Stock Dads with the podcast, and that was also called Stocks and Sandals. We're bringing it back, throwing it back to the, 2020 that we started the podcast with me and Mike. Obviously, a lot has changed over the last few years. Stock Dads has evolved a ton, and we now have with us Ace of Trades, Ace Rabanus, who is an exclusive trader for Stock Dads now, one of our principal influencers. I'm not going to try and let that go to his head.
Why is that in quotations? I think that's exactly what I am.
Principal influencer. But yeah, this podcast is going to be about trading, investing, entrepreneurship, lifestyle, fitness, fun, just
anything under the sun.
Whatever we want to talk about. We're going to have some pretty cool guests on from time to time, interview some other awesome traders, entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, anybody and everybody. Just allow us to kind of, have a platform for us to just get some stuff off our chest, have some fun, make some fun content, be transparent. We really want this to be just like a fun experience for you guys to watch, something where you guys can learn some stuff, get to know us better, and just, we're going to do the thing and just kind of see how it goes.
Let's do it.
So welcome, Ace. How you?
Welcome, DJ.
Thank you. I'll kind of take the host role of the podcast, I guess, sometimes, but because I think more people want to hear from you than me, because you bring the value. You're the smart guy.
Principal influencer.
Yeah, right. Principal influencer. So I guess just start off by telling the people about yourself a little bit.
Cool.
Start from the day you were born.
From the day I was born.
Everything since that day.
Cool. I was born August 22nd, 1995. I am currently 28 years old.
Make notes. You can send them a birthday gift.
August 22nd. I am a Leo rising, Scorpio, Virgo falling. Whatever the astrology says.
Unhinged.
Unhinged degen.
Yep.
So 28 years old, been in this space, financial markets, for right around 11 to 12 years. Graduated with an honors Bachelor of Commerce in Financial Services with a minor in Financial Planning. During that time, there was a guy in there trading futures nonstop, and every single lecture, this dude was making a truckload. And that's kind of what geared me toward it. I was looking more toward like portfolio manager, becoming an analyst at an actual large bank in Canada. I'm also Canadian from Toronto.
Other side of the pond. Wait, no.
No, that's not.
Never mind. That's the UK. Anyways, other side of the border.
Other side of the border. And so from there, it kind of just geared me toward, let me step into trading. And I kind of had a small fix while I was in high school. So before I even graduated in finance, I got a little bit of a taste inside of Forex. That's where I really got to understand exactly what technical analysis was, how to read charts from just a simple understanding from like supports and resistances, reading candles, patterns, so on and so forth. And then to actually grasp the whole idea that it is easy to make money, but it's also just as easy to lose money. So, I got a little bit of a taste, went all the way up to like 15K. And 15K while I was in high school, I'm like, I am rich. This is phenomenal. And from that point, it went all the way back down to like 5K. And I'm like, 3K profit, taking it now, running. So that's kind of where I got my running start. Here we are now. Became one of the biggest names across Discord, worked with over 250 servers, to now just being exclusive only to Stock Dads.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Ba-da-ba-ba. Principal influencer.
That's right. Yeah, I had to literally pay Ace to talk to me. So I sent this man DMs for over a year trying to get him to come exclusive with us.
You sound like my ex-girlfriend right now.
Yeah, I tried to get you to come on exclusive for a long time, and my DMs would just be left unread constantly.
How bad do you want me, Daddy?
Well, I didn't want you. I mean, I offered you 100.
You wanted me pretty bad.
I wanted you pretty bad.
He had other employees try to turn the script to try to reach out to me.
I had like 5 different people trying to hit it from different angles. I went to your moderators and your server and was like, just tell him to check his DMs. And then I finally was like, I went to his DMs. I said, I'll pay you $100 to reply to this DM. Because you probably get like 100 DMs a day. So you're probably like, I'm not replying to any of these, to be honest.
I don't reply to anyone.
Yeah. Except in the server. And
my
stuff
mother
like that,
could be in DMs and she's not getting answered.
Right. DMs are not good. But I'll pay you $100 just to talk to me. And finally, you magically, replied.
Let it be known, you were my manager at the time, so I was checking your DMs. But if it did not deal with here is a paycheck, was I do not care for you.
Yeah, right. So you guys can see he's super nice and fun to work with.
I'm actually the kindest person out there.
Yeah,
it's the Canadian in me.
He said he's Canadian, so that should tell you enough. No, you're great. But tell me about the watermelon. Why are you holding a watermelon?
So I thought when I first started, a face is not really recognizable, right? Like everyone has their own face. It's not like if someone wanted to refer back to me and tell their friends like, oh my God, do you follow Ace of Trades? They're not going to be like that guy with the big nose, right? They're going to be like, hey, you know what? He's actually associated with a watermelon. Mm-hmm. So it's like if people across Discord would be like, oh my God, this watermelon guy is really good at trading. People could reference a watermelon to Ace of Trades. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was phenomenal. I think the best part about it, though, is why a watermelon out of all things. To me, it was just easy to associate an emoji first and foremost, right? Just because everyone knows emojis. Everyone has an apple. So just to use a classic watermelon emoji, that was very simple. But the reasoning behind it is very, very douchey. It was more so like, how can I feed people my seed while looking at my trade ideas? And that's kind of where it just stuck from there, and I ran with it.
Yeah, no, it is recognizable. It's become your trademark. It's it definitely helped me in the beginning because owning a Discord, I've gotten to know pretty much all the other servers out there and understand pretty much all the analysts that are on Discord. And there's probably like 4 other Ace of Trades. I think you're one of the originals, if not the OG Ace of Trades, but it's kind of like it's a name that's gotten used quite a few times, like across usernames. But I immediately knew which Ace of Trades we were talking about every time somebody would say Watermelon Ace or Ace with the watermelon.
I mean, not because I'm the best, but because I'm a watermelon.
Yeah, that's the only reason I knew. It was just the emoji. So, no, but good. Okay, so Ace just finished a small account challenge in our Discord. So he's again exclusive to Stock Dads. He's in there providing alerts, education, hanging out in the chats. He live trades every single day. So let's talk about your small account challenge that you just did. Now, you've done a bunch of these before.
17, I think.
17.
Alerted. I've done a lot more. Personal, however, alerted where I actually show how many contracts.
Right.
All that kind of stuff. Basically, the whole detailed list of getting in and out of the trades, scaling, exiting, averaging down, the whole rundown.
Yeah, we've done
alerted
like
17.
Yeah. So out of those 17, how many have you finished successfully?
I have finished 16 successfully. This one being the 16th. The one that I failed was technically not even a failure. It was sitting right around, like we had gone 100%, came back down to break even. And I'm like, sorry guys, I'm not mentally there. I'm going to scrap this one.
Yeah.
I consider that a loss because it's not a completed challenge.
Right.
So that's just marked off for me.
So this one was 1 to 10K, and it was a rough ride. This one was a roller coaster.
Hardest small account challenge I've ran to date. And the funny part about this is it's not the smallest amount of capital that I've used on a small account.
Mm-hmm. So you've done like 500 to 5,000.
I've done 250 twice. Those were the first ever small accounts I've ever done. And I've brought those ones up to right around 5K.
Mm-hmm.
That was more smooth sailing than this time around.
Tell us why. Like, what about this one was so difficult for you?
We got cocky at the end of the day. We started off the small account at the best possible time during FOMC.
No sarcasm there.
No sarcasm. No one does that. It's not smart. Some people...
Not the best move. We learned from that experience.
And a lot of people, and we're talking a lot of well-known people, will just take that whole week off.
Mm-hmm.
Me, being Ace, saying, I'm good enough. I'm going to finish the challenge during FOMC in the first week.
Yeah.
We got burnt.
Yeah,
I think it dipped down within that first day, all the way down to like 800 and change. So we were already starting off the account down 15, 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to climb back up all the way to that 1,000, that initial, and then start making a profit from there. But the rough ride doesn't just stop there. We also went through a whole earning season. And again, me being me, I was getting bored.
Mm-hmm.
I got all the way up to $5,000. I took out the initial, right? That way it was absolutely risk-free. And we were just playing with profits at that point. Got it back down to $1,000 after that initial was taken out.
Mm-hmm.
So we were still 100% on account, but now we're back to 1,000 from 5,000. Oh, and we did that like 3 times.
Yeah. I think you only had like 3 red days. And so it took 36 trading days for you to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of those 36 trading days, you only had 3 red days, but they were really red. So you mentioned you got bored. I want to talk about that. I want to break that down because for you, these small account challenges are hard in a different way. So like with some of our members that follow, they're hard because they're learning how to trade, right? They don't know what they're doing. They don't have a lot of capital or whatever. For you, it's hard in a very different way, and that's because for you, trading with a small account like this is like trading with, pennies, right? It's pocket change, so it's not exciting. It's not something that really holds your interest super well. You really do it more for the members. You do it more to educate people.
It's more of a learning experience more than anything.
It's like you are doing this for the members, not for yourself, right? So, which is really selfless and it's awesome. And I want, our members, and it's something we constantly have to remind people, is that you are doing this to help them, but it doesn't make it easy for you because you might technically lose money when you do sacks because you're more focused on the sack than you are on your main account, right?
So I actually talk about that every single time while we're in voice channel before we even start the actual challenge. I will always prioritize my main account because that is where I'm going to make money. So sometimes I'm scaling and I'll take on the main account. By the time I get that alert out and it's time to start trimming on the small account, that price is nowhere to be found sometimes, right? Day trades are constantly volatile. We could be up 30%. Next thing you know, in the next minute, we're down 10%. You have to be on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And am I going to prioritize an account that's up $50 or am I going to prioritize an account that's potentially up $3,000?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So just weighing that off, I'm just like, I'm going to prioritize the main account. However, at the end of the day, these are all trade ideas. This is not financial advice. This is just what I am doing personally.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if I am trimming on a main account, you might have an understanding, Ace, I should probably take some profits on a small account.
Mm-hmm.
Again, learning experience for everyone, and that's mainly what it's about. And I feel like I got that message across.
Yeah, it's learning to manage an account. Because if you can't manage a 1,000 account, you're not going to be able to manage a $100,000 account.
And I think that's actually a huge topic that we should touch upon.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, if I had more capital, I would make so much more capital. Like, today would have been a phenomenal day. But they don't realize their overall account is down 90% and they just keep refunding it.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
More capital doesn't equate to more gains being made, more profits being made. It actually means more stress on your psychology.
Bigger losses, too.
Right? Being able to swallow the pill when you're down $1,000 and not $100, right? Whereas people already on a $100 loss, they're flipping out.
Yeah, so we had a lot of members that joined just for the small account challenge, and admittedly, part of it was probably because of how I marketed it. I kind of made it like seem really exciting, and this was a learning experience. It's an amazing experience, But I may have created a little bit of FOMO with it, and where it's like, hey, just join, and like you're gonna. I didn't say this, but like I marketed it in a way that may have led people to believe that, okay, I'm gonna join, put $100 or $1,000 in, and I'm gonna have $10,000, and like it's just that easy. All you gotta do is follow the alerts, right? But that's not how it really is.
Not at all.
And I learned from that experience because I want to market responsibly too. You know what I mean? And I think we had a lot of members that joined thinking that this was going to be really easy, right? Thinking that it was just going to be autopilot, whatever, and they're just automatically going to turn into.
I don't even think that was just you. So the small account that I had ran, it was maybe like 9 trading days.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't take a singular loss, and every single person that took the trade ideas as their own, did their due diligence, and thought that each trade was a really good idea, all reached the goal.
Right.
Every single one of them. We're talking hundreds of members. So
right.
Not only were new members excited, but old members were hyping it up like no tomorrow.
Right, yeah.
Because
so
that was my most successful small account to date, was that summer.
Yeah, you
small
definitely
account.
did. Just like right before you had just finished 100% win rate small account. You'd finished it like just over a week. It was crazy. So the FOMO was there to get in on this one. And everybody thought, okay, this is going to be easy. You know, like 16 out of 17. He does it every time pretty much. Like, you know, he doesn't lose, like blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what we need people to realize is that like trading this week, right, may be different from trading next week. Or if you have like a completely successful, like you can have an amazing year, and that doesn't mean that you're a consistently profitable trader forever, right? Because market conditions change and your psychology changes and so on and so forth. So when you completed this challenge right before, it was 100% win rate. We had a bunch of people that joined, you know, thinking that this was going to be easy. And then the very first day, you know, you said that this was your first Stock Dads exclusive challenge, but you mentioned that it happens, not this last one, but previously there's like this first play curse, right? Where a lot of times your first play of the sack goes down, right? And like you lose. That happened this time, and people just, like, so many of these new members that joined thinking that this was just going to be smooth sailing lost their minds.
They got to weave out real quick.
Yeah.
They pivoted away from the challenge and never looked back.
Yeah, we lost a lot of members immediately, and, you know, despite us sending multiple announcements and warnings and stuff like, guys, like, this happens, you gotta learn from it, you gotta ride the waves, like. And then you ended up making it back literally the next day, but it, you know, it was just kind of like up and down both emotionally and literally financially, up and down through the whole challenge. We looked at the bar chart, but it's literally like this, you know, huge uptrend, right? This channel, because like you would do amazing and then you'd get bored, right? And then you'd YOLO,
fall down huge,
and then you'd go up and you'd get bored, and, you know. So talk about like what it finally took for you to like just say, you know what, I'm gonna finish this. I understand that our members, that this isn't pocket change for our members, so like it matters to them, even though for you it doesn't necessarily. Right. So let's talk about that.
So I think the main reason as to why I'm trying to justify this when really it's not, but the justification for me was that we took out the initial. We were playing with profits. Playing with profits, it's like, if you go to a casino, you're willing to lose $500. You make $1,000. You take out that $500. You're gambling all night.
Right.
That's the same mindset I had during this small account. We took out that initial. It was absolutely risk-free. So it's like, does it matter what we do? If I full port all of this, the rest of this $4,000, and it doubles, perfect. Now we're at $8,000. Not realizing the whole premise behind these small accounts is to learn. There is no learning when you're full porting. Right? The only thing that
because that's not what you do with your main. You'd never act that way with like your actual account.
Never.
So people watching, and you know, this is their first experience with trading. They see this and like may think, well, this is how I got to be. I got to YOLO or whatever, and that's not the case. So let's talk about how you pivoted a little bit from that point when you finally were like,
ooh,
you know.
As soon as we pivoted, I think the account was sitting at $2,000. Am I mistaken?
$2,000, but
after,
minus the
withdrawal. So we were at $1,000 flat, essentially, like $1,200. And this was last week.
It was last Monday.
Monday, we were at $1,200. Tuesday rolls around and it clicks. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this as a learning experience for the members And it's time that I get my shit together, knowing exactly what I need to do. And the fact that I know how to execute these trades properly.
Mm-hmm.
There's proof in the pudding. This is the 17th challenge. This shouldn't be a worry for me. Right? All I had to do was stick to the game plan, follow the trade plan, which is what I preach: consistency, discipline, consistency. And I'm not doing that myself.
Yeah.
So is this really a learning process now, or is this me being stupid?
Right.
So once that clicks in, I'm like, you know what? High conviction trades only. Follow the game plan using, obviously it's still a challenge, so we're still using a riskier amount of position sizing. However, we're doing it very intellectually, where we're cutting those losers as soon as they're invalidated and letting the runners run for what they need to do.
Actual trade
I'm following the trade plan.
Right.
Friday rolls around, we're making $2,000 on the day. The day before that, making $1,000 on the day. Next thing you know, 9 days later from that, maybe even less, 8, the challenge is done.
Right.
So we didn't need 36 days. We needed 8 days to get there.
Yeah, the irony is that the challenge probably took longer because you got bored with it than it would have if you would have just, But so this was a learning experience for you too. Like,
for sure.
Like it was a learning experience for everybody. And I think the biggest takeaway is that even though like you're an amazing trader and like
Wait, say that again?
No.
Say it one more time. No, I didn't hear.
Even though you're an amazing trader,
play that back like 5 more times, guys. Rewind that clip, 10 seconds into it, and I just want that on repeat for me.
No.
Send that to my DMs. I'll check those DMs for sure. Feed my ego.
His ego's plenty big enough. No, but even though you're an amazing trader, like you still broke your own rules.
I did.
Like when you break your own rules, this is why traders need to set their rules, right? And why they need a trading plan and why they need something to where they can refer back to. It needs to be written down in your computer on a piece of paper or whatever, but it has to be something that you can refer back to constantly. Because if
something that is defined and absolutely being consistently followed day in and day out. Right. And it's not necessarily consistency that's the key. It's discipline.
Yeah.
Right? You can consistently do something 90% of the time.
Right.
But people don't realize it takes one trade to blow a whole account.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not immune to it. And nobody is. And it's a constant psychological battle.
We are human.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, so I think that if anybody takes anything away from it, is be encouraged that like if you're struggling with like the psychology of trading and like you struggle with the ups and downs and you break your rules, like you're not alone. Like that's something that everybody has to deal with, even the pros, right? But it's something that when you eventually get to a certain point that you can control those things, that's when things are going to really turn around for a lot of people.
And I think the main thing here is I would never, ever do that on my main account.
Right.
For me, that is just, it's a natural flow.
You were a victim of your circumstance.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And everybody's got different circumstances that can take them out of their psychology, and whether that's your main account or a small account when when you don't really care about it or whatever. But it just, that universal rule is that if you break your rules, the market will break you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to beat the market. Yeah, like that. I'm going to make that a quote.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was successful at the end of the day. You finished the challenge. Everybody was happy, of course, that stuck with it.
We even had a member doing 10x the challenge, and
not something we necessarily recommend.
I don't recommend that at all by any means.
Right.
The risk tolerance and the trade plan should pivot the more that you scale up.
Right.
Right. So. But I would never recommend that. But
paid off for him, won't always work like that. So again, if you join future challenges, don't think that I'll just 10x this and make 100K or whatever. Yeah. But so what's the next challenge, or what's in the works?
Ooh, we have a lot in the works for our members right now. So,
depending on when you listen to this, by the way.
Exactly.
It may already be going on, but we'll see. We'll talk about it anyways.
The main thing here is going to be Mastermind. So actually teaching people hands-on and almost hand-holding them to the point where they can do this self-sufficiently by themselves, right? I might not be here forever. Discord might not be here forever, but their tools and their knowledge is power when applied, right? Everyone's always heard that. Knowledge is power, right? So when you actually apply this knowledge and you realize, like, I can do this myself. I don't need ACEs alerts. I have all the tools that's necessary at my fingertips, that's the people I want to teach.
Right.
And that's the people who I want to grow in this space. So even if, say, we do have a mastermind and only 10% of them succeed, that to me is a huge win, because that's 10% of people's lives that is absolutely going to change.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing, like to remember is that trading is hard in general, and most people don't succeed regardless. Like you do have to
People get so pissed at me because I say the complete opposite, and everyone gets so pissed. I remember it was like on Twitter, there was a whole feed of a lot of people basically saying, trading is hard, trading is hard, trading is hard. I've told you this, and we might get to this real soon, but to me, trading has always been linear, because once it clicks, make that be understood, follow that to the T, and no matter what, you will succeed, right? Yeah, it's hard in terms of, oh man, I have to be disciplined every single day. I have to be consistent every single day. It's like once you become and you go inside a routine, let's use the gym as an example, right? The gym is hard for what? The first week, 2 weeks? Once that becomes an actual hobby and you fall in love with what you're doing, there's no stopping you. Right. I love going to the gym, right? That first few weeks where I first started, I'm like, oh man, I'm sore. Oh man, this sucks. Oh man, I'm sweating. This is tough. I'm heavy breathing. My heart hurts. My bones hurt. Now it's like, I don't know what I would do without it.
Right.
That's the same thing for trading for me.
The hardest part for people is getting to that point, though.
1,000%.
Because some people may have it, like it was a little bit easier path for you than I think for most. Getting to that point where you fall in love with it and where you can control your discipline. Was it easy for me? I don't know. I mean, you tell us. But the getting to that point where it becomes habit and where you don't have to fight those, emotions every day, and because it just becomes part of your second nature, I think a lot of people struggle with that more than most. Or a lot of people struggle with that part of trading more than, like anybody can learn to read a chart. Anybody can learn to read a candlestick. Anybody can read all the books.
We were at Best Buy, 3 days ago. Some guy's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, I've been killing it. I use a MACD and RSI, and I've been learning support and resistance levels. You've been doing this for 3 years? That's like, knowledge is power, right?
Right.
Constantly keep learning in this space. I'm constantly taking masterminds, mentorships, courses. There's always room to grow in here.
Right.
Right. So within a 3-year period, how bad do you truly want this?
Right.
And that's what I want to do with the mastermind. I want to see who's willing to invest in themselves, right? And actually willing to put in the work to get to where they want, right? Everyone has a dream. They always I want to do this. I want to do this. How are you going to freaking get there? Right. That's what I want to see. Apply yourself. Let's get you there. I'll give you all the tools that is necessary. All you have to do is figure out your own strategy, apply, and that's it.
Yeah, and if you don't, the application part that's the hardest part. People can learn stuff, but if they don't apply it routinely, then it's not going to pay off.
Day in and day out.
Yeah. So I want to know. I mean, we talked about learning and how it's kind of how your experience has been a little bit more linear than most, and more like maybe a Tesla than a Verizon, or whatever that just trades sideways for years. But talk about what if you had to pick one thing that was the most impactful for you learning what you know now. Was it your was it your schooling? Was it a certain book you read? Was it a mentor? Was it just getting in there and practicing stuff? What was that
I've never directly had a mentor myself. I wish I did. Don't get me wrong. It would have been so much easier with a mentor who has done it and has proof in the pudding, where they're like, this is what you need to do, X, Y, and Z. Follow this. There's your Bible, and there you go. That would have been so much easier for me. Did I have a lot of trials and tribulations to get to where I am? No. And that's on honesty. Right? I understand that everyone else is probably going to experience that. I've seen a lot of my students experience that. I've seen a lot of members experience that. Other huge primary influencers within this space who always talk about I had to blow up 15 accounts to get to where I'm at. For me, it was an understanding that this is going to be a process. This is not a get rich fast scheme. This is day trading. you want to treat it and you want this to be your day job, treat it as if it is your career path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting $500 or $2,000 to grow to $5 million overnight. I knew that I need a scale. I understand compounding because I went to school for finance, and I said, let's constantly compound. Let's build. Let's build. Let's build. Next thing you know, I'm like, that's a $5,000 trade.
Mm-hmm.
I just made another $7,000. Oh, $1,000 a day. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Now I see the power of investing and the power of compounding, and I actually didn't pay myself for a good 3 months, and I stopped working. I was one of those people where I really didn't have a backup plan. I was still living with my parents at the time, and I kind of just ran with it. They hated me for it, and I think that's a topic on its own because I think everyone has friends and has people who are downing them and has those haters where it's like, just quit now before you hurt yourself, right? Because they think it's a gambling addiction, or
they think it's impossible.
Yeah, right? So, and that's very true for a lot of people. Some people should quit. They're never going to exit that mindset where they think it's going to be a get-rich-fast scheme because they've seen potential profits where they're like, oh man, that was 100% play. But if you constantly keep doing that, you're going to get burnt eventually, right? Like I said, you can win 99 trades. One single trade can wipe you that whole account. Right? So for me, yes, it was definitely linear in terms of my success. And it was almost immediate. It was like I got in at the perfect times. I was able to scale up from penny stocks, which is what I started with. I was with another huge server at that time, exclusive to them. Everyone was basically exclusive at that point because there was no such thing as botting in other servers or anything like that. And it was more for me about just finding a community more than anything, because I was doing it by myself and that was boring. So having a community by itself, that's worth the money alone. You could just be in chats chilling or be inside a voice channel and you're like, wow, there's other like-minded people like me or people in the same position that we can all just grow together and we can all learn together. That's why I love Discord, because of the community aspect. And we're more like a family more than anything. That's why I'm moving down here with DJ to actually see the empire that we can build and just see everyone learn and kind of have that mindset that I did when I first started. But yeah, I started off with penny stocks and I saw good success. I think there was like one trade and I still have that screenshot to date, and it was $6,000 and it was my biggest trade within like a month. I started off with $2,000, mind you. And from that point, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. My account's now sitting at $25,000. I started off with $2,000 and I was in debt like $30K. That was just from a paycheck where I had $2,000. I'm like, screw it, throw it into the market. Whatever happens, it happens. But again, with the understanding that I can actually grow and scale this $2,000, it's not going to be rich overnight kind of thing.
And that's the mindset that a lot of people come into it with, and it sounds like your experience was more linear because you didn't have that mindset from the get-go.
Oh yeah.
And I think the bounces for a lot of people come from that mindset where it's like, this is gonna be easy, this is gonna be, like I can just follow alerts, or I can just buy, like in 2020, gosh, when COVID was going on, like you could buy any stock in the market and it was going to moon, like no matter pretty much whatever you did, you were going to make a lot of money.
And that's exactly what happened.
And a lot of people saw that and thought that, okay, that this is always going to be this way. And then when it's not, then they get a little shook, right? They, they get smacked in the face a little bit and they're like, stunned. Okay, whoa, what's going on here? Well, I actually learn. I actually have to like have a system, a process to do this. Like this doesn't just throwing darts at a dartboard. And, I think when people realize there's work to put in, the ones that are willing to do it, they'll succeed. The ones that aren't willing to do it, they won't.
You get as much as you put in. And it really shows tenfold, especially with the market. There's no turning back.
So you mentioned you're moving to Florida.
I am.
So that's super exciting. What drives that decision? I mean, like, obviously, you're with Stock Dads now. I moved down to Florida. This is now where I live, and like in the Orlando area. What is bringing you down here? What about Stock Dads has you excited enough to move in that, make that big cross-country, cross-continent? No, same continent. I'm really bad at geography. I'll learn. You're moving across the border, so
not just across the border, all the way south.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
To the next border,
Yeah,
basically.
Like Florida's here and Canada. Anyways, so why are you coming down here? What's going on?
That was never the game plan for me to move. I always wanted to move, and I was telling DJ about this. My goal was Europe. I was looking for somewhere where I could just set base, retire, be happy. Because again, my primary income is trading, period. Anything else is like fun. What can I do again in terms of a community? How can I help people grow within this space? The number one thing for me is not about, oh, how much money can I make? It's more so, how many people can I influence positively, right? How many lives can I possibly change so that they can go from where I was when I first started, where they were in debt, maybe just living paycheck to paycheck, to actually having a substantial amount of income where they're like, I can make this my job. This is a career path for me, and I can set up a lot of people with the right tools, right? And so you invited me out to FinCon, right? And that was at New Orleans. I had no clue what was going to go on. But we met and we just started chatting it up, just more on like a personal level. Everything was just, we weren't really business over there. It was for business, but we did not do anything business-wise over there. We were just chilling, kicking the shits, and I got to understand the vision of where DJ wanted.
I think we literally kicked shit.
We definitely were in New Orleans. On Bourbon Street.
I think we literally kicked.
We were kicking shit, drinking daiquiris, and it was a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
But the main thing there was I saw your vision, and that's what sold me, right? Because I don't care to have a boss. I've been doing this forever, right? That is not what I want at all. I don't need someone micromanaging me, holding me over, or anything of those means. But you had a vision, and your vision was great enough to speak to me to say, I want to join that vision and I want to help you grow it because it's so large and so immense to the point where we can positively impact. Again, that's my biggest goal, right? How many people can I influence positively within this space to create better people overall, not just make them money, because obviously money will follow, but how can I make people better and stress-free? How can I give people that time freedom that I'm always talking about, where they get to enjoy their time with their family, their friends, have a lot more alleviated stress off their shoulders, and be able to just be themselves and not be in that rat race, working 9 to 5, day in, day out, living that robotic lifestyle until they're 65 when they're broken and old. And then they're basically saying, live your life. Screw that. That's not for me. So I saw your vision. I saw the direction that you wanted to go. And it wasn't just a vision where we're just talking out of our ass. It's a vision where you had guidelines. You knew exactly what steps you needed to take. And the fact that you took me on, I'm like, this guy's already making a really good decision. Right? But
oh, God.
That was the best decision you've ever made.
This guy's so smart.
I'm like, wow, this guy's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was able to convince me
Right.
of all people. But yeah, you had your vision and you had the roadmap to get there. And for me, having that understanding of how you were going to get there was enough for me to say, I want to join you on that. That's a journey, and where I can see the end goal, but I understand it's going to be a journey to get to the destination. But that destination is phenomenal. So
yeah,
stock as it was.
Yeah, I remember having my first conversation with you that wasn't on Discord, standing in a pool in the shallow end, as a lot of people like to make fun of me.
Throw that picture up right now.
No, don't.
We're throwing that picture up right now.
Okay,
I'm not letting that go. I want the 4 quadrants
the
pictures.
AI,
AI version.
Somebody AI'd me in the pool, and it gave me like, I mean, I'm a heavy guy, but it gave me like straight.
Whoa, you're big boned.
I'm big. Have you ever seen a fat skeleton? Exactly. So, but this AI gave me like double D's, standing in the shallow end of a pool, made me look like Pitbull.
If I were to cover your face, ooh,
you coming after me.
The things I would do to that AI.
Yeah, right. But no, I remember having that first conversation with you, and like this was before FinCon and stuff, and it was kind of like when I first was like, all right, I really want to get this guy on our team. Let's call him and see what's up. And like we immediately just were vibing on the phone. Like I just feel like we've since
he was in a pool, I was getting a haircut.
yeah, literally since day one, we're just like, okay, we just like clicked, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like I felt the same thing in New Orleans, like where it's just like, okay, now we've been together in person. This works. Like we vibe with one another, we connect, and we have like the same principles, and we're both like, we both keep morals and like principles close to us, and that's important to what we both do. So then it was like, yeah, let's just go all in on this. And so we ended up getting a house, like a content house that we're sitting in right now, like building out this studio, other studios for other content, and like coming down here and just be able to produce as much amazing quality, valuable, but most importantly, valuable content that we can for anybody that's following us. And yeah, I think we're just going to be able to produce a lot of like really cool things that our members are going to love, and that
resonating with the audience and the masses. That's our main goal here, right?
Yeah.
So
it's making this stuff accessible for people.
Exactly.
You know, in a way that like you can relate to. Ace is very wealthy, guys. He's going to have nice things, but it's not all going to be about like showing like, the nice cars and
we're not here to
the
flex
nice watches
by
like,
any means.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not about that. It's about, yes, we're gonna show like what this life can do for you and what you can.
What's the potential?
Yeah, what the potential is. Like the fact that you have the flexibility to just up and fly to Texas one day from across from Canada because you got cold. Right, in Canada, you were like, yeah, it's too cold here, so I'm gonna like.
That was last week.
Yeah, so last week you just like, I'm gonna go to Texas, and like, then you go down there, you trade from a hotel room, and you're still making a bunch of money, right? You have the ability to do those things. Like I have the ability now to. Now mine's more from, and I want to talk about this too. But
you're going on a cruise next week.
Yeah, I'm going on a cruise, but mine's different. So, and this is where the entrepreneurship part of the podcast is going to come in. So I'm actually a terrible trader because I haven't been able to learn yet, because when I started...
I want you to stop talking. Guys, we had a small account. He's giving me lectures saying, stop full porting, stop full porting. He made, during that time, maybe 5 deposits of $5,000. Full ported every single play. He was beside me in New Orleans
I
was having my $1,000 days. And he's like, oh, I didn't get the same fill as you. Let me full port this next play. Oh, you know what?
But I was gambling, but it was money that I could afford to lose.
That's thing number one. And yeah, I think we should definitely make that known.
So yeah, it was money that I didn't care about, and like I still at this point don't have the time to learn how to trade on that deep of a level, because when I started Stock Dads, and anybody who's been with us since day one knows that Stock Dads was started because me and my former college roommate, like, we wanted to learn how to trade, and we wanted to learn how to trade from like real people and people who were successful, and we wanted to sift through all the crap, all the the when Lambo type stuff. It was just all FOMO, and like if you trade with me, you're gonna make $1 million by next week, all that crap. We had to sift through it, and we wanted to learn how to do it. Well, it just evolved like so quickly, and we ended up making a Facebook group, and overnight pretty much had like 30,000 members in there. And all of a sudden, like, it was just supposed to be like a common interest Facebook group, right? Where it's just like people who want to learn how to trade were in here, right? I wasn't a subject matter expert. People started coming to me because I started
just
a group.
A general community without a ringleader.
I didn't even know Discord existed at that point. So like I was basically in my mind creating what apparently, like, there were a few communities out there at that time. But I was just doing it on Facebook because that's all I knew, because I'm a boomer. I'm not a boomer, but like Facebook was that was my platform. So it was like, okay, so all of a sudden I had this influx of members that joined. All of a sudden they're starting to ask me for, like, how do I trade? And I'm like, hell if I know. I just learned how to do it. I don't know any of this. So that's when we decided to start the Stocks and Sandals podcast the first time, and we were going to bring on guests and experts and pros to learn from, and we were going to bring people on that journey with us.
Right.
Now, if you watch those episodes or listen to those episodes in the beginning, you guys can go back and listen to the first seasons and stuff. You'll kind of see the progression of how Stock Dads has grown, but that podcast quickly evolved into people wanting a Discord, which quickly, it started encompassing like all of my time, and I was getting like no return out of it because I was trying to worry about a podcast and not even really trying to learn how to trade. So I wasn't even able to like.
And you had a job.
And I had a job. I was still working full time at my other job. So
Two
like,
kids and a wife to please.
Yeah. So we got this. We started this Discord, and I ended up like, because I was spending so much time doing all this stuff, like I wanted to monetize it in some way. I had a platform. I had people that wanted something. So I started hiring these pros that I had been interviewing, that
Say that
like,
one more time.
These pros that I was what do you mean? Started hiring these pros that I was interviewing.
Call me a pro again?
I'm not even talking about you at this point. You just came in the picture. I'm talking like OG stock dads.
The OGs wasn't that good, clearly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why I had to evolve. But no, so I started hiring these professionals that I was interviewing, and we built this community, and it's just grown so rapidly that like I've become, and what I never intended to be was an entrepreneur. Like I went to school for athletic training. I have a master's degree in athletic training, not personal training, for all of you trolls who are going to say, oh, you were athletic trainer, you fatty. Not personal training.
Big
athletic
bones.
Sports medicine. But I went to school for that. That was my career path. And then I started, climbing the corporate ladder at a company that did athletic training kind of industrially. Then I started getting interested in business. I went to get my MBA. And while I was getting my MBA, like all of this kind of just fell in my lap, and it's evolved so much that over the past 3 years, I've been building this really successful business, and it's doing amazing now. And I've hired a full team. I've got full-time staff. I've got influencers working for, I got all this kind of stuff going on where I still have yet to learn how to trade. And when you do your mastermind, like now that you're here, I intend to like force myself to learn how to trade for real. But like over the years, I've picked up a lot just from listening.
DJ likes to troll and says like every time I get bored, he's gonna take a squirt bottle. I think the table's gonna turn so quick on that, especially since you're gonna be the one learning to do squirt.
Yeah. But so we'll talk about different aspects on this podcast, the trading. But I do own this company, but I am not a trader. Like I'm going to learn, but
I think that makes it even better because it puts you on the exact same level as all the other members, right? Where you're just in this process of learning, right? You love the thought of how it is, again, it has huge potential for growth and it can change many people's lives, and you're giving people that outlet. However, you're starting on the same level that they are.
Yeah.
So for them to be able now to have this principal influencer that you can learn off of and actually scale up with them, and to the point where you will become successful in this space. We're basically living together now.
Right.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Right? So for them to be able to see you scale yourself up, I think that's going to be really cool in the future.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely need to keep watching, see where DJ comes in this space and how he begins to grow his account from, let's just say you're going to throw in $10,000, no deposits after that. And we're going to show his P&L live with you guys.
As I learn.
As he learns.
And I'll try not to YOLO everything and, all that kind of stuff.
That squirt bottle will come out, and we will be showing a clip of that.
But, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about entrepreneurship. We'll talk about how I've built this business and how people who may be running their own small businesses can maybe learn from my experiences. I'll hopefully get some guests on that I can learn from. You guys will obviously hopefully learn a lot from Ace, from the trading and the fitness as a former personal trainer on this side.
Ooh, that's a story by itself because I almost quit finance to do a personal trainer full time.
Well, story for another episode. Lots of really valuable content coming for you guys. So if you haven't already, join our Discord. You can go to WHOP.com/stockdads. And sign up for our Discord there, where you can get Ace's alerts, jump in live voice chats with us every day. We've got a lot of other exclusive analysts that we're going to be interviewing on our podcast as well, and you guys can learn from them. And we've got, obviously, all of our social medias. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, all sorts of stuff. Just follow us. It's pretty much at StockDads everywhere. Not everywhere, at StockDads. But there's a lot of fakers out there, so just be careful not to get scammed. We'll never ask for your crypto. I'll only ask for your real money.
Our accounts are verified as well.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that noted.
For now, some of them, yeah. They should be all verified. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching the first this time episode of.
We promise it will only get better. This is the first time. Yeah. We will get better.
Be gentle, but we love you guys.
Be so kind.
Yeah.
Don't go too rough. I might like that actually.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening, watching the Stocks and Sandals podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time. Peace.
Peace. What? Continue to